Hey everyone, and welcome to Maplewood Ranch, home of the new Barnyard DLC. Now, Maplewood Ranch is not our typical zoo build, but rather a working ranch that has attracted some roadside passerbys. Now, have no fear, as this will be only a mini zoo series with a focus on the new barnyard animals and just having some fun making a ranch. And a quick message to all of our new viewers who've stumbled across this video: thanks for stopping by, and if you like what you see, or you want to see more, think about subscribing to the channel. Now, I'm starting Maplewood Ranch with a quick build for the Sussex chicken, but let me know what barnyard animal we should add next in the comments below. Otherwise, let's start building. Now, in preparation for the launch of the Barnyard DLC, I did go ahead and make this administration building. It's pretty plain looking initially, and that was by design because it meant that I could populate it and spruce it up a little bit more with a lot of the barnyard items. And one of my favorite pieces that come from this pack, and I have quite a few, but it has to be this crate. I love the versatility and the use that we're going to be able to get out of this. For here, I wanted to populate it with a lot of produce. Love this new rustic vegetable turnip as well, so if you're looking for some more variety, perfect item for you to use in your own zoos. Now, the idea behind this is that Maplewood Ranch is a working ranch, and this means that we're going to have some items that our guests can pick up as they come to look around. So make sure you keep an eye out for a lot of these crates popping up from place to place. On top of that, we have our hay bales. And who hasn't wanted to have some type of form of hay bale within the zoo? And I may have to go back through a lot of my zoos to add in the hay bales because we've had a lot of jury-rigged ones, but this one definitely takes the cake. I love the hay bales more so because it just adds a lot of additional life to your build, gets rid of a lot of those flat lines that you see, especially with this building. It was very bland looking, and the hay adds a lot of additional character. On top of that, we also have these milk churns, which are kind of cool. Again, this is still a working farm, so if we had milking cows, we definitely want to have some milk crates lying around. Now, lastly, I added in this really cool looking rustic wheel. It's safe to assume that Maplewood Ranch has been around for a really long time, and that means if we look hard enough, we might just find some wagons lying around. Now, with us all said and done, it's time to call our administration center complete, and it's time to work on the rest of this habitat build. Starting off, we're going to begin building our chicken coop. There's a few ways to build a chicken coop. You could utilize a lot of the pre-made wall pieces. For me, though, I really like this East Asia painted timber. And this is going to be the first time I've actually utilized this piece in Planet Zoo, which is very shocking considering it's such a nice looking piece. So that being said, we started off with our frame. It was really made utilizing these thicker beams, and then in between I used the thinner, more narrow beams to create the wall. Now, it's important here that we understand that this is going to be a fully custom building, and more so because of the unique size of the build. So in order to make sure that we're not going to have a lot of lines going straight up on the pieces, because we did have to kind of utilize two to make this work, I flipped two of the pieces around and then start copying this all the way up. Now, seeing as this is going to act as the hard shelter for our Sussex chicken, it does mean that we'll have to create some type of opening for our Sussex chicken to access. Now, when you look at a lot of chicken coops, you're going to notice that they have a ramp. I really don't know why they do this. If somebody does know it, please let me know in the comments below. But to that end, really easy, I created this initial section for our Sussex chicken to enter in. Now, I do go back through and add a nice white border to it. Helps it make it pop a little bit more, which is super important. And it was also at this point I realized this probably needs a little bit more white. So changing all of the support beams really caused our chicken coop just to pop a little bit more. Now, lastly, in order for our chickens to be able to get into their shelter, we need to make a little bit of a ramp. Again, following that same idea of not wanting to have something that's going to look the same all the way across, taking one of the beams, flipping it around and pushing it back in helps to create a little bit of a difference between the multiple pieces, and then just copied it all the way across. And just like that, we pretty much have a completed chicken coop for our Sussex chicken. With all of that completed, it was really time for us to start working on the exterior portion of our habitat build. It's really weird as well calling a Sussex chicken a habitat build, considering they're pretty predominant where I live anyway. But that being said, really just utilizing the same architecture we've already created. In this case, we have a fairly heavy duty cage that's being set up. This barrier is going to be really heavy duty, but it kind of fits the theme that this isn't a zoo. This is actually a ranch. It's a working ranch, and it's really meant to drive the idea that this is where you're going to come to get some eggs, maybe some milk, all of that stuff. So to that end, we have our initial barrier created. And it didn't take too much work, actually. It really only utilized 3 pieces, the wire mesh, and then 2 types of the Asian timber. Again, it's painted. You saw it as red, but we do switch it over to white as well. Now, switching back to our chicken coop, it is time for us to add a roof. It's really easy to add a roof, and thankfully, there is a piece that we can rely on for such a unique building design, and it's the Twilight Shingle roof panel. Because it's a panel piece, it does give you a lot more freeform, so you can place it the way you want, and you can see me readjusting and making sure that it's the perfect angle and it fits correctly. It does take a little bit to get to this step, but it's definitely worth it to create this really cool looking custom built chicken coop. Now, I also wanted to add in some type of conservation aspect to this particular build, and I felt that the best way to do that would maybe be to add in a water reclamation service. And really how this works is as water comes down, we're going to have a series of downspouts that are going to collect that water and then feed it into a barrel that we're going to be able to utilize to continuously provide fresh water for our chickens. Now, it did take a little bit to get to this stage, more so because a lot of the conservation gutters are really cool looking, but it does take a long time to make something that's going to work. And I've realized that our gutters are collecting water from the wrong angle. Please do not comment on that. But if you do so, let me know what you think of this particular gutter system. Now, in order to secure it, I also added in quite a few clips, and then just like that, kind of call it a day. Now, turning back to just maybe beautifying our chicken coop, added in quite a few of these barnyard pieces again, and you're seeing the same thing happen from our administration building. A lot of the milk crates, a lot of the buckets, a lot of the hay bales. But all of this together creates a more lived-in experience for our Barnyard DLC build. It's really meant to give it the idea that this area is a live working area. Now, I'm going to remind everybody a really cool way of utilizing these sacks to make it look like chicken feed is to take a bunch flower piece, flip it upside down, and place it down. Now, knowing that this is a working ranch and we're still going to have guests wandering around, I really didn't want to have any guest paths and then staff pathing. I find that staff pathing looks really obtrusive, especially when you're trying to build a ranch. So to that end, I placed down a curb and then also lined it with some of the new fencing. Again, repopulated the area with a lot of the new barnyard items to give it a little bit more of a lived-in feel, but this will hopefully prevent our guests from going to the rear end of our build and kind of give it that idea that this is an exclusive staff-only section. And just like that, we've pretty much completed the exterior of our habitat, and really now it's all about populating the interior. So what I did is off camera, I went through and added quite a bit of foliage. You have to understand that the Sussex chicken really doesn't want a lot of foliage, but also didn't run a really bland looking habitat. So I lined everything with a lot of the greener plants and then added in some of these additional builds that you saw me put together. Again, one of my favorite pieces to utilize right now is going to be this sack filled in with the classic flower bed. It really kind of creates that idea that this is actually chicken feed, and our employees are going to walk in here, spread this chicken feed all over, maybe in the foraging spot that I've placed off camera to give it that more realistic view. I just really like it, and you're probably going to see this crop up quite a bit within the overall build. And with these finishing touches, we are finally done our first habitat for Maplewood Ranch, and I'm really excited to bring this zoo mini-series to you guys. And if you have any feedback, please make sure to leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, I send you off with these really cool looking cinematic shots of our new habitat build. And as always, want to say thank you so much and ciao for now.